your screen. Mine's dead.
Okay. Give me a second to get that open. Oh, wrong one. That one, just the one tab. Did they move the share button again? I'm sorry.
Oh, there's a rule that says every video conferencing app must put it in a different place with a unique logo.
What is going on? I apologize. They literally changed everything.
So Avi, I've got one request. Can we move the budget to number 1 so Chris can present the budget to the board?
Yes, that'd be good.
Okay. Happy to do reports and then do the budget. I think that makes a lot of sense.
All right.
Okay. Do you want to just click on the foundation board? Oh, sorry, minutes and attendance. Goodness, well, I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Yes.
Did you do record?
I believe I did, but
Yes, it's recording.
Okay.
in which case, let's kick this off properly. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and welcome to the February Board of Directors meeting of OWASP. I'm going to call to order, and we will start by taking attendance. Sorry, words are fuzzy. According to my screen, Ricardo.
I am here.
Kevin.
Ew. Does that count as I'm here?
Sam, you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Matt.
I'm here.
Steve.
I am here.
And Bill.
Oh, sure. I'm last. Yeah, I'm here.
Right, according to my screen. We also have an attendance. Andrew, did I get everybody? From the board?
Yourself,
yes.
Technically.
And myself, yes, thank you. I always forget myself. And Avi is here as well. We also have in attendance Andrew.
Yep, hi.
Lauren, Kelly, Jason. Hi, Jason. Welcome. I assume the black screen that says OS Foundation, I assume is Kelly.
Might be Dawn, actually.
I'm here.
I see Kelly now separately.
Kelly's here, yes.
Dawn, Harold, and we have Chris and Leah from Charter CFO. I will remind everybody of the requirements of conflict of interest and antitrust. If we say or discuss anything where you feel that there's a conflict or there's anything that is relevant, please raise it either at the beginning of the meeting now or when we discuss a specific topic. We need to read in the previous meeting minutes from January. Did everybody have a chance to actually read them through this time? I will take that as silent confirmation. Assuming that everybody read them, I would like to read these in and get everyone's approval. Again,
Who's the sponsor? You're the sponsor.
I will sponsor that. Do I have a second for that?
I second it.
I haven't seconded that. Excuse me. According to my screen, in order of my screen, Ricardo.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Sam.
Yes.
Matt.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
And a yes from me as well. Go ahead and close that. Point of order, Andrew, have all the votes been properly recorded in the board history page?
I don't think we had any votes in the January 11 one. I need to go back and confirm that. That's the last one. We need to actually put up some minutes from that. I've got 3 or 4 pages worth of minutes to go through. I don't know how much of that needs to be minuted, but essentially I don't think we had any votes during that session. So
Well,
I think
officer elections.
we voted on the officer elections during the 24, the latter board meeting. There was a discussion about it in the 11th, but there was no vote. So to my best of my knowledge, I believe the voting history is up to date.
All right. Excellent.
One thing, the only thing that's not on there is from that meeting that you had, Andrew.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, but I don't
Okay.
believe we took any votes. I just need to go through the minutes carefully. That's what I was
Okay.
saying.
All right.
Matt, did you want to raise a point of order about that as well?
I did just in general. I think we should try to post the meeting recordings as quickly as we can after the board meeting happens, just in case there's a community member that happens to miss the meetings. They get a chance to view the recording as opposed to, I think historically we've done them kind of later on.
Yeah,
It
they're
would be
generally,
nice to have them done sooner.
yeah.
I want to point out that does include the meeting recording as quickly as we can as well.
The recording, honestly, to me, being even more crucial because that's a very usable record for the community about what happened. If they, happen to have a business call or something during this time slot, they could at least catch up.
Agreed. Yes,
So
Don? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
just briefly, we do need the secretary to update the votes when we do that. So Dawn?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
I was just mentioning that the secretary needs to update the votes if we're going to post it as minutes.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll update the votes, yeah, on the agenda. And once
Yeah.
they put it up, I can put it on. I did tell Matt the other day, I will post after the meeting. I'll put the recording on the next month's agenda. I'll put it up after the meeting, the recording.
Perfect.
Like, point is, don't wait till the next month's agenda before posting it.
Yes. We were waiting till the minutes were approved before I was doing it.
Don, is that what you wanted to say, or you had your hand raised before? Was it that or something else?
That was it, that I'm gonna start putting the recording up today, like after the meeting.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
With that, I'd like to turn it over to Andrew.
Yeah, can you open the foundation board summary slides? Okay. Just click slideshow and then go forward to my slide. Okay, everybody, please welcome Jason. So the board, please meet Jason. Jason, please meet the board. Also our accountants as well. So Jason, do you just want to do yourself a quick intro?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Jason C. McDonald, and as you know, I am the director. I'm the new director of community development. My background is varied and includes over 2 decades of community management. I'm not kidding about that part. Professional writer, former principal software engineer, and just general jack of all trades. So I'm really excited to be here and to be able to use my mixed bag of skills to help OWASP move into the next era of its grand adventure. So thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, well, we didn't get a chance to interview you, so I've prepared a list of 96 questions that I'd like to quickly go through. That's okay. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome.
The answer is yes to all of them except number 5, and that one is carp.
Okay.
I do have 2 questions for you, Jason, if you don't mind. First of all, where geographically are you located?
I'm in central Minnesota in the United States.
Cool. And which is your favorite doctor?
Thank you. Thank you. He knows where the bow tie is coming from. Yes. I kind of am tied rather heavily between the 11th, the 14th, and the 13th. But they all have their strengths.
My daughter would understand that. Okay. I believe Avi and Matt, you're doing one-on-ones every other month. Okay,
Correct.
good. Yeah, and it's more like a how's things going, not a status update. So we don't want to end up with staff with 7 bosses. I think that'd be difficult. That said, Jason, if you need to work with a board member who's a liaison to a committee, go straight ahead. You don't have to go through me. Okay, winding up the OWASP VZW, we're waiting upon some solicitor details to actually do the winding up. I haven't heard from Martin about the ING accounts. If anyone does know Martin personally, let's just say that Martin and I are a little strained at the moment is probably the best and most professional way of saying it. So can someone who knows Martin very well, please just ask him what the status of the ING account is. Just one person, not 5 of you, please. Avi, you'll do it? Okay, thank you. The 2024 budget is finalised. The headline figure of 290,000. We've had to speculate around Singapore's profitability, and also to a certain degree, the budget doesn't necessarily include all of the income that we might be receiving from fundraising. If things start to get a little out of whack by the half year, I will work with our accountants to present a mid-year budget. But for the time being, just think about it as being 290K, which is better than nothing. We will try as hard as we can to exceed that. I would like to have more than 2 million in the bank at the end of the year. That's my goal. It's the first budget that we've had that's had more than $3 million going in and $3 million going out. So we are growing. Okay, so that's an important milestone for us. We should continue to try to push this to 5 million so we can actually fund the projects and things that we want to do. The bylaws. I met with the lawyers last week. There is a new consent letter that is being drafted at this very moment with the updated list of ex-directors. Hopefully, they now understand that we've got issues getting people to sign. So it won't be a sequential, this person must sign, that person must sign. But I will keep an eye on who has signed and ask you as board members, if you know them individually, to reach out and say, look, you've got a DocuSign request, please go ahead. The lawyers will be sending a cover letter stating what they need to do. The consent is literally along the lines of affirming all of the bylaws, all of the policies that have, and those motions that have been made over the years, and confirming that those are actually what we meant to do. So it puts it on solid ground that we have a solid bylaws, solid votes from the past. We don't have to go through and imagine that they don't exist. So yeah, I'm hopeful to see that this week. I haven't seen it yet. As soon as it comes through, I am traveling at the moment, so it might be a little delayed, but I hope that I can see it this week and I'll get it out. Citizens, the last remaining big transactions that we had, which was payroll, has been moved to Chase successfully. Therefore, I'm going to keep it open for another 90 days because invoices that bounce after that are really old. And that will give us a clue as to which vendors we need to ping. I will continue to get statements for Charity CFO. And for that matter, I've uploaded all of the statements from citizens for the last 3 years, dating back to 2020. So it's 4 years to the staff drive. So we can have a look at the past history. I don't believe I can go much further than that. It's something that wasn't handed over with virtual. So we now have a full history of our transactions at Citizens. If the Treasurer wishes to inspect them, I'm more than happy to make those available. Okay, next slide.
I just want to see if there's any questions for anybody. A question about the bylaws. This is happening this week. The signed letter should be this week.
Yeah. We've got Edmund Momenton coming in. Yeah, so essentially, I'm hopeful of getting the draft this week that I can review. I will get it back to the lawyers as soon as I possibly can. As you know, I work 5 short days, but as part of the 4-day work week. I will, as soon as I get it this week, I'm hopeful it'll be this week. I'll bounce it back and hopefully we can start the DocuSign process. I'm going to give them 30 days from the day that we actually send it. That is more than enough time.
So at this time, though, if after 30 days, whoever hasn't signed just isn't going to sign.
That's right.
All right.
It's basically evidence that the vast majority of the directors agree, not necessarily that all directors agree.
Andre, I have a question.
Yes.
Are all the ex-directors still OWASP members, and do they all have owas.org email addresses? And if not, do you have the up-to-date emails to make sure?
We've got about 5 or 6 of them that are no longer OWASP members, and we've had to, chase them down via LinkedIn and our personal contacts to find the best email address.
Okay, so it's done. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a global alumni Google group. I'll add the current board to that list because you'll see who I'm pinging to please get ahead and sign it. And if you've got personal relations with those people, I know who might be slow signers, but I'm not going to say it in a public forum. Okay, Dawn.
Just one thing. So we had a few 1099s based on the list that went out in error. Already contacted charity and they got them corrected, and I sent them to everyone who there was an issue with. So that's all fixed for operations. The only other things technically out of operations, co-marketing, anyone who's going to RSA, if you could just let me know you confirmed you got your hotels and everything and you registered for the conference.
Avi, I've got a discount code for you. Okay. Can we just go forward to the members slide? I just want to talk about complimentary members. One more. There we go. We continue to lose 1-year members. We really do need to do a membership drive. A lot of this has to do with historical, we had conferences around this time, and so people are dropping off because they registered with a conference. However, the trend of 1-year members is not good. I'm very happy with the number of increased lifetime members. That's a good thing. But we do need to do a membership drive. But one of the things that's been driving membership growth is complimentary members. I think we're playing cat and mouse with folks who are trying to take on complimentary membership. We're not sure what they're doing with it. Whether it's just a free G Suite account or there's really this pent-up demand for free membership. But I will bring it to the board's attention that we only have 10,000 seats. So at some point, the board needs to decide whether or not this board or the next board or board after, but certainly by that board, we're going to bump to 10,000 seats. And we're going to have to figure out, do we do something like have a premium membership that has G Suite and the other ones don't? There's lots of things that could be discussed here. It may be worth putting on the agenda for the JFK meeting because I don't think we're going to solve it in the board meeting today. We've got a very full agenda. Yes, go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks. For some reason, I can't find the raise my hand button, so I thought that would work.
Right, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm like, I just saw Dawn do it, so I know it exists. I just don't know where it is anymore.
It's under the actions.
Yeah, it's under the reactions thing.
You can also turn on the AI thing and raise your hand, and it will actually put your
Yeah, I'm scared to turn on the AI thing with Zoom, but we'll just go with that. And so my question is, I have heard reports from a number of people that they have not gotten any type of automatic notification that their membership is about to expire, and then they find out their membership has expired when they go to do something. Are we not sending that out, or is somehow that and full disclosure, I pay for membership for every member of my company. And I have a number of my company people who, when I checked on them, they found out that they had not been renewed because they expired and didn't realize it.
Right, that could be probably driving it. Kevin, can I ask you to actually just confirm that with Harold after the meeting?
Yeah. It seemed
I will
relevant
chase that
to
up.
a conversation about membership dropping.
Yeah. This is an automated workflow in Stripe. If that automated workflow is stuck or not working, we need to find out.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that, I'm going to hand, oh, sorry, go ahead, Darby.
Andrew, the complimentary memberships there, is that for things like leaders, or is that the force majeure, or is that both?
That's the
together?
force majeure.
Okay.
Sam?
Do you have numbers to separate those two, or is it just force majeure?
I would have to defer to Harold as to how many are marked as being located in Ukraine, Israel, or other places. At the end of the day, that's not a statistic I have to hand. I can get that. Yeah, I can get that from Harold later. Okay, Sam.
Yeah, for the 10,000 Google account limit, Andrew, we can bypass that because we have contacts at Google who will happily increase this for OWASP Foundation. We need to speak with Sharif, who has contacts on Google. It's already been raised and discussed, so we just need to contact them when the time comes.
Okay, that's really good news.
They're more than happy to support OWASP.
Wonderful. Okay, with that, I would like to hand over to Chris Barber for the finance report.
Very good. Dealer's choice here. Would you guys like to talk about January financials first, or the 2024 budget?
I'd suggest we start with January because that's, I'm sure, a smaller topic when we cover
Yes.
that anyway, and then dive into that.
Okay.
Do you want to share? Should I stop sharing?
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, can you allow me to share my screen?
I don't know.
I can't promote her to a co-host. You right click on her, ... make co-host.
One moment. I gotcha.
Right. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, January financial reports. We'll jump right in. I'll try to keep this pretty brief. There's not a lot to discuss in January. And we don't have the budget comparisons that we normally do until we get the budget approved. But going into the statement of financial position, it was a good month in January. Our cash increased by a little over $100,000. That's basically due to the net gain that we had during the month. We also had an increase in other current assets of approximately $30,000, $32,000. And that is the balance held in Eventbrite and PayPal funds that we haven't transferred over to cash yet. So net assets are up for the month. Liabilities are also up for the month, but by much less. Our accounts payable went up from $48,000 in December to $85,000 at the end of January. So from a net assets, the change in net assets over January was $99,000 to the good. Moving into the statement of activity.
I just want to briefly let the board know we've had problems with getting PayPal to let us do anything. We're in a restricted state at the moment. I've uploaded my ID, we've changed our password, we've done everything they've needed to do, but we're still restricted. So it may be a little bit of time before we can sweep the cash from PayPal.
Are we still receiving funds through PayPal?
We sure are.
Got it. And I assume you've escalated this with them then if we're unable to move the funds out.
I will do that after the meeting.
If you end up getting stuck, I used to work at PayPal, so I still know people inside. I can just ping them and ask what's going on.
Okay, great.
If you get stuck, like I don't want to bug them. It's just you go through their process and then you're fine.
Just to be clear, Andrew, is this just a question of accessing the funds, or is it visibility as well?
Oh, no, we can see the funds. We just can't do anything with them. This is actually holding up Eventbrite refunds as well.
Okay. Do we owe event refunds through Eventbrite, Andrew?
Lauren,
We have 4 refunds in Eventbrite, but it only totals just under 500 euros.
Okay.
But in exchange, these people are going to go and purchase the correct ticket type, which is more. So it's not much, it would offset and there would be more money coming in.
Okay, very good. Moving to the activity for January, our income was up substantially from December. We were up by almost $141,000. Biggest drivers were registration and sponsorship, which I'll just flip to the budget really quickly. And we'll go over this, but you can see our estimated income for January was only $66,000. So we're much over that. We really weren't expecting to get registration and sponsorship funds this early in the year. Corporate sponsorship, corporate funds are up as well as individual. So everything was up across the board from an income standpoint. And expenses, total expenses for the month of, hey, Leah, we have a duplicate line again on tax compliance. Can you fix that for me, please?
It just has to move to another section, but yes, I will.
Yeah, thank you. Total expenses for the month of December, I'm just gonna hop down, were $152,000 compared to $150 in the month of December. So relatively flat, although that's misleading because there were large changes in salary and payroll related expenses. I assume we had some bonuses in December.
Yeah.
They were significantly lower in January. And then everything was relatively flat for the month and where we expected it, other than expenses related to these summits. That was $44,000 in January.
Excuse me, Chris, Kevin had a question? Kevin, your hand was up?
I raised it and lowered it.
That doesn't count. So total expenses, $150,000, $152,000, total revenue, $251,000. That is exactly what we like to see. Net earnings of $99,100 for the month of January. And unfortunately, we don't have all of the budget versus actuals data yet, but we will have that obviously next month once you approve the final budget. We'll have additional reporting available there. We'll also be able to provide a cash flow forecast every month, starting next month once the budget's approved. So, like I said, it was not a big, not a lot of new news in January. There rarely is in January, other than revenue coming in a little bit sooner than we had anticipated. So if you guys don't have any questions, we can jump over to the budget because I'm sure that's where we're gonna need to spend the most of our time. But happy to address any questions you have about this first.
Harvey?
I actually do have one question on that, and it might actually be more for Kelly about why it's a pleasant bump. I'm curious why there's such a big jump in the conference revenue so early.
I think it's pretty much more just the money coming in sooner than we expected. Companies want to obviously pay for their sponsorship so they can choose their expo area. That's how we identify where booths are located. So people are catching on to that is pretty much, I think, the only thing I can relate it to. And when we did the budget, that you'll see it, Chris is going to show, it was rough estimate guess of what months the money was coming in.
If that's the case, we should try and capitalize on that in the future.
We should.
Push
Yeah.
them to go earlier.
But yeah, that's the only thing I can tie it back to.
So Chris, in the past, Virtual used to put the money that we're going to be doing prepaids on into deferred revenue. How does Charity CFO deal with these funds?
So we only are, this was a choice we made during onboarding. We are not using deferred revenue. And I think the main driver of that is because you guys wanted to see your accounting on closer to a cash basis.
Mm-hmm.
The deferred revenue really skews your financial position from a timing standpoint as far as cash on hand. you would show a tremendous gain in the month of, your cash would be up, but you would have no revenue to support it. So you would show a loss when you have high cash, you would show a gain when you have no cash. So we stopped deferring revenue other than at the end of the fiscal year. So any funds that we had at the end of December that were for January would have been put into deferred revenue. That way we're being compliant with GAAP accounting, but we're no longer deferring that revenue for a month at a time until the event happens, so that your financial picture is more in line with how your cash flow comes in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know that I'd like to start doing CD ladders with spare operating reserve. So once the cash flow analysis is done, and we know that we can actually start to put $100,000 a pop into CD ladders to earn some interest, it locks money up for up to 90 days, minimum of 60, but at least we'll earn about 4.5% to 5% interest instead of nothing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that we need to be conservative when it comes to investing, because you guys do have really high months of outflow.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be prepared for that, but you certainly have a consistent cash reserve, I think, throughout the year that we can identify and feel comfortable investing.
Okay. So Bill, I'll talk to you at the next OWASP finance meeting about this.
And I think also we are gonna add, and I'm not sure, it's probably not in there now because we don't have a budget, but we're gonna add a day's cash on hand calculation to your monthly reports as well. We need the budget in order to do that. But we're always gonna suggest that you keep about 120 days cash on hand. And then that'll help you give you a rough idea of maybe what you want to do from an investment standpoint.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I think you could, at the very least, have a couple $100,000 that could be invested in earning interest.
Yep.
Chris, does this change to cash basis? Will this basically flatten out our revenue over the months instead of having large peaks once or twice a year?
No, it won't, because you can see this is what we've projected for the year. And we'll go over this a little bit, but no, cash basis means you really recognize the revenue mostly when you receive it. So you still have fluctuations on when you receive cash.
Yeah. I think cash basis is like, it's cash in your wallet right now.
Sure, but previously if we deferred it until the event, that was only like 2 big events during the year. So we'd have like 2 big peaks and everything else was less than that.
Yeah, I think what you're gonna see is, and I think this might be a learning year, but no, yes, it will definitely be closer, but it's certainly not gonna be flat. You're still gonna have those 2 big peaks, although it'll probably be spread over 3 months leading up to it, as opposed to getting it all in the month of the event. It's all gonna just depend on when you receive the cash. Obviously, we received more in January than we anticipated. I know I worked closely with Lauren and Kelly, and they worked very hard to try to anticipate both when expenses were gonna come in and cash was gonna come in. But, it's hard to anticipate. So, any other questions about the financial reports and before we jump into the budget?
Yeah, Sam?
Yeah, I think it's mostly probably to Andrew. One line of income, which I believe we used to have, was all the donations which used to come from YouTube giving program. We used to have a donate button on all the videos. When people viewed our videos, all the income would be sent as a donation. Recently, I noticed the buttons disappeared, even though YouTube keeps placing the ads. Is that linked to the PayPal situation, Andrew?
I don't know. I'll find out.
Okay, and it was coming in. Was my question basically. Where does it go into donations? Does it go into the code? Because we used to have that small but still income flow. I think it was something around $500 a month.
I believe it was ACH into Citizens, but I will find out. I haven't seen it for a long time.
Exactly. That's why maybe we need to update YouTube configuration to make sure it doesn't go to Citizens account, which doesn't exist anymore. Thank you.
Yeah, and even if it was going to Citizens account, it would be still showing up on these financials because we're getting those downloaded every month. Leah, does PayPal donate, anything coming through PayPal typically go to individual contributions?
No.
No, they,
Chris,
it's, yes,
the UK giving is on the citizens. I coded a few of them today. So it is coming through the citizens, so we have gotten some recently, all under $100 or something, but there were a few transactions.
okay. And do you know, and where are we coding that, Dawn?
I put it under fundraising, income coming in. If that, Andrew, if you want that change, you have to let me know.
For individual.
Fundraising
Individual.
is the class,
Yeah.
but
We need,
the
which
account,
account is it going to? Is it, I think it's probably that general donations account.
Yeah.
It,
general
it should be
donation.
general donations. Yeah, it's not an
Okay.
individual membership.
got it.
Okay, 24 budget. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna kick off. I'm sure Andrew has a much prettier, cleaner copy that he will distribute and share with you all for reference, but I'm gonna show you my working copy because it's got notes and information on it that I feel like might be useful. Feel free to just holler out and let me know when you have any questions. We did estimate it by month to the best of our anticipated ability. This first section here is all income and revenue. So we'll go over that first. I'll lead with the bottom line, which we're anticipating $3.4 million in income during 2024. This first section, and again, this is where we're going to see the most variances from a timing standpoint. This is all related to events income, and it's the largest income source we have, with $2.5 million in income expected from events. Again, Lauren worked very hard on this, as did Kelly. And as we're seeing already, though, I think we're going to see fluctuations on the timing of when we receive these funds. Specifically, the sponsorship funds. It sounds like corporate sponsors are the ones that are maybe have the best upside to donating early. Is that correct, Lauren?
Yeah, so Kelly receives her sponsorships, whereas the registrations on line 8, that comes from Eventbrite, and we typically receive our payout at the conclusion of the event. So Kelly's is more flexible, whereas ours is, yeah.
Okay, so but total sponsorship revenue anticipated during the year, or I'm sorry, event revenue is $2.5 million, with large peaks in July and October, obviously.
Right, because that's the conclusion. When Eventbrite pays us the tickets, the funds that we receive from ticket sales.
Yeah. Do we know that Eventbrite has been changed over to Chase?
It has.
Fantastic. Jason?
Yeah, just a quick question. So I noticed that this is 2023, so I was just kind of.
Oh, I'm so
I
sorry.
understand that.
That's my working copy. That's where we started, is last year's number. So this is definitely 2024. Thank you for that. Any other questions so far? Okay, other donations, we have general donations, local chapter and projects. We have these estimated at a total of $117,000 for the year. And that is our 2023 totals, plus a 5% increase anticipated for 2024. Corporate contributions, this is per Andrew, we did straight line this across the year, but I know this is an initiative that he has to increase corporate contributions in 2024. That was $425,000 is our goal. And individual contributions are again based off of 2023 actuals plus 5%. So total membership income at $737,000 for the year. And then miscellaneous income at $10,000 at the year, which for the year, which again is 2023 actuals plus 5%. This does not include, you'll see at the bottom, we have a spot for interest income. We have not populated anything there yet, but this is our operating income only and doesn't reflect any interest income that we're anticipating. So $3.4 million is our revenue goal. And from any questions about revenue before we kind of hop down to expenses?
Harvey?
Yeah, two things. Technically, the corporates are not members. Do we want to, should this explicitly be separated since they're not technically members? Or does it not really matter here?
We could change, see where it says corporate, could we change corporate to corporate supporters? That'll be good enough. Otherwise, we've got to change our chart of accounts again.
Yeah, it's up to you. Just want to change it to corporate supporters, or we can move it above the membership income heading.
Well, we treat both of them as essentially donations when we receive them. So does that make any difference? I mean, they are not members. They don't have votes.
Understood. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I wasn't privy to the conversation of why it got put under membership income.
That's historical.
Yeah,
They were members at one point.
Historical. We can move it or we can rename it, your choice.
I think just rename it for now. It's pretty obvious.
Okay.
Yep.
Leah, will
I don't
you?
want to get too pedantic, but you know, I don't know if that has any.
So is individual also not
Oh,
non-vote
individual
as well?
No, they vote. Yep.
Okay.
So just corporate supporters, we're gonna rename it to?
Yep.
Okay.
So
And
Chris,
if you guys want to change that moving forward, just let us know and we'll take care of that for you.
Thank you.
Yes, Sean?
so how do I code this now? Like I just had a few, I put it under member and whatever it's listed, members and chapters together. So if that's gonna stay that way, because that's for individual and it was corporate.
There are two accounts, so Leah, can you speak to?
Are you saying that when you input corporate, you also do members and chapters?
Yeah, what else would I put it under if I didn't? Because it was considered member.
That's fine. You can leave it as members and chapters. I think that I'm just gonna go ahead and move the corporate supporter under donations.
Okay, so I sent the sheet I sent you a little while ago. If I need to change that, just let me know.
No, you should be fine with still leaving it under
Okay.
that class. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing to always remember is that these are accounts. So obviously we do it by class also. And one of the main reasons for that is we'll be able to track this year our profitability for each separate event.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change any kind of accounts, any class coding. We'll just move around the account a little
Yeah.
bit.
Thank you.
So yeah, okay, it's not really pedantic. But my other question is, okay, so you have here, 425,000. Is that our expected or our goal?
Our goal. It was 300 and something thousand last year. It was down significantly from 22. We've got to really, we're going to use RSA to promote corporate membership. We're going to be getting out there and doing some marketing of corporate membership. I really want to see us hit 425 this year. It's a goal.
Would you see this as like more of a realistic goal that we expect, like we're trying to get there, or more of a stretch goal?
Might be a bit of a stretch goal because the tech layoffs. It's very hard to approach organizations that have just laid off 10,000 people and say, oh, by the way, donate to us. But we will.
Thank you.
And again, I think our total last year was $327,000. So it's not a tremendous stretch to increase it if we're going to put more effort into it. It's not like we're going from 0 to 425.
On the other hand, we've always been undercapitalized, especially in that area.
Yeah.
I think that, and I'm sorry, I don't have this data in front of me. I didn't look at 2022, but I think that 2023 was a large drop off from 2022. So that trend could continue or hopefully reverse. We have, we're waiting on final approval from y'all. I assume that there will be some changes to this, though. As soon as you do have a finalized approved budget, let me know, so we can populate it in QuickBooks for you, though. Any other questions related to income? Our approach on expenses was really, you'll see kind of across the board, we are anticipating, and these are not non-event related expenses only. We're anticipating a 5% increase over last year, with no major changes other than what I'm about to identify from you. So that's where most of these numbers have come from. You know, outreach, shipping, swag, travel, we are not expecting any huge changes there from prior year, but did account for inflation. The next section is expenses related to conferences. This obviously is our biggest portion. We saw earlier that we're expecting $2.5 million in revenue related to events, and we're expecting $1.6 million in expenses. So tremendous amount of our operating revenue coming from these events. And as anticipated, October is going to be a high month, August is going to be a high month, July is going to be a high month. We have some deposits on, I assume February, May. And again, I know Kelly and Lauren worked really hard on this. I know that there's still some up in the air on Singapore timing, but we decided that we needed to move forward and get a budget in place. And since we're already at the end of February, so.
Yeah. Sam?
Yeah, I have a question on the venue expenses, say for Lisbon and for San Francisco. Are these the actual figures or that we've already paid, or it's not been paid, or is it invoiced? Because I'm assuming the venues are booked, right? So we will pay the bill when the time comes, but we know how much it is, right?
Hi, Sam. I can kind of speak to that. Yes, on line 54, the venue expenses are a very, very close approximation, and it's based on the deposit schedules that are found within the contract.
Okay, thank you. It's just basically when generally talking about that this year is going to be 5% higher, and approximation, we should know how much it's going to cost us exactly, because it should be in the contract. That's my point.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just to be clear, we didn't these are actual budgets, sorry. Non-event expenses, we were adding a 5% increase. These are actual expenses that Lauren worked very hard to put together. We have a separate tab for each event with the specific charges associated with that and the timing that we expect them to come in. So these are not based on last year's actuals at all. This is based on our forecast for this year and current contracts that are in place or that will have in place.
Steve?
Hi, yeah, I had a question on line 51, which is the tax compliance. I believe we said that we're going to have some tax concerns in Lisbon.
Yes.
So has that been taken into consideration on this?
I did not add it onto this. I kind of feel like our tax compliance extends beyond that because we also need to discuss ensuring that we are tax exempt in the state of California as well for San Francisco. And I didn't know how this would also extend with the European entity. And I know Andrew and Kelly were working really hard on that.
Yeah, so we're absolutely going to be registered for VAT in Portugal, and it is 19% on top of the venue costs and the AV costs. Eventbrite will actually charge the VAT for us, so the price of the ticket the VAT will be covered by the actual attendees once we set that up correctly. Bill?
Yeah, I had a question about the budget, but I see that Rick is leaving, and I wasn't sure if we needed to have Rick talk about something before he goes.
He's next on the agenda to confirm him as a compliance officer. Did the board have any further questions for Rick?
Do you want to jump quickly into that then since he's got to go? Or do you want to pick him up at the next board meeting?
Harvey?
My apologies all. I just have another meeting in about 5 minutes or so.
Are you able to join after that, Rick? Or
It's
should we
it's
wait
like
till
an
this-
hour. It's like an hour-long meeting, so I'm not sure how long you guys will be on here.
We'll
so
probably
perhaps
stick
we
it
should
here.
put in this for our next meeting?
Yeah, let's defer it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks for
thank you,
joining.
Rick.
Okay,
Thanks,
great.
Rick.
Thanks
Okay.
all.
Sorry, guys, I'm taking up the whole hour.
Yeah,
Um,
I did have a question though,
Yeah.
for Chris. As we go through the year, we have our budget, it's approved. Is there any point at which we should reevaluate our budget, or do we just stick with it the whole year? Is there any circumstance where income is lower than we thought or expenses are higher than we thought? I just was curious what your thoughts were on
yeah,
if we should do that.
typically, if we are not making our numbers and we're consistently over in expenses or under in revenue, and we're not making our numbers, I would definitely suggest a reforecast because we need to really look and see what we expect for the rest of the year and make sure, because those numbers do kind of affect your cash flow forecast. We need to know why that's happening and what's going on. Typically, I do not see clients go through the budget, the whole re-budgeting process when things are on the good side. We can certainly look at it, but I wouldn't, redo and reapprove a budget. We certainly want the board's approval on any downside budgets and any changes that we're anticipating. And if that's happening, we really need to look into it and dig deep. So I definitely, like I said, moving forward, we'll have budget to actual reports on a monthly basis and as well as cash flow. So I definitely think at the 6-year mark, it's worth looking. I feel like you guys are going to be in a good spot and don't anticipate that. But I also, a lot of times, especially if it's non-emergent, because we're doing better, if we start a reforecast at the middle of the year, it doesn't get a lot of attention. And, we're going to start the budget process hopefully in October anyway. And a lot of times we're working on the next year's budget by the time we get the mid-year forecast redone. So definitely, if we're not meeting our goals, we definitely should be looking at that and finding out why, and need to reforecast for the rest of the year to know what to expect. If we're exceeding our goals, it's, sometimes it's not worth the effort.
Okay, so at some point, when you do our numbers, you would then indicate to us, hey, you might want to reconsider, or you might want to consider reforecasting.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, we will, in part of our presentation, I think, through December, we'll be looking at where we are year to date budget versus actuals every month during the board meeting.
Yeah.
Question?
Harvey?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, about the tax compliance, can we have that reflected in the budget, please?
Yeah, I was not aware that was an issue, but I think we need to add that from a revenue standpoint and from an expense standpoint, if you're expecting the ticket holders to pay that.
Both on that, and if there's cost to be exempt from the tax in California as well, there might be a cost there.
There's no cost there. It's just literally got to apply for it. We're working on it.
Right, but especially for the Lisbon numbers, I'd like to see that there will change.
If it does.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when forecasting these numbers, when you look at like the venue, the AV, all of that, we did make an approximation, like a guess on what these numbers would be by factoring in us paying our taxes and things like that on each individual bill. So I just want you to know that if something were to ever happen and we all of a sudden didn't have to pay taxes or VAT in Portugal, these numbers would shrink considerably.
Okay, so I think then these are the tax numbers that we're expecting. So, Chris, is there a special line for taxes?
There, we should. I'll leave it up to you whether you want to mandate that or not, but we have the tax line 51. So we would need to back them out of the expense line that they're currently in and add that into line 51.
So basically the taxes are already included in the other lines, is what you're saying?
They are. Yeah, the way I read it was that line 51, I did tax compliance thinking it was what we were paying to consult with these companies. So when I did the budget and in my Excel sheet, I had the formula built out so it would factor in the taxes.
Does this matter to us either way?
The overall number shouldn't change.
It doesn't matter
Therefore,
to me.
yeah. So I would like it very much if the budget could be approved today, but on the basis that we will do line 51 as a change in the published budget.
Honestly, we don't need to change it unless you guys want to. I mean, from my standpoint, it doesn't make a difference as long as it's calculated in and we have that number here.
Yeah, I think it was just the clarification of the definition of line what 51 represented. And I think that clarification in my mind is good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough, but I think it is important for the purposes of our discussions about events late next month to know what this is actually costing us, right? If there is a cost there. It doesn't need to be reflected in the budget. It's just something that I'd like to, data that would make sense for us to work on later.
Perhaps just a note then, if we could just include like a note up top that these numbers actually do include taxes, because that was not obvious.
Got it. Include taxes.
Yes.
And we'll.
I do.
Can we agree that this was line 51 should be for tax compliance consulting?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
I do have a question about some of the other expenses. It feels it might just be very defensive spending here. For example, the marketing is very low from what I would expect from our conferences. I mean, it's more than we've done in the past, sure. But since we are wanting to grow the conferences, is this low because we're not used to doing this yet, or is it because we're trying to be more defensive with our spending, or what?
Yeah, we are trying to be more defensive. This is the direct LinkedIn advertising and things like that. If there was to be an investment this year, it'll be in marketing. I will work with Bill on specifics. I do want to do a campaign about corporate membership that should pay for itself. Attendance is where, like, we're basically sold out for these two large events for corporate, event sponsorship. So we really need to invest in marketing for training and registrations.
Fantastic.
I will say, I don't know whether this matters, but this is specifically marketing related to these events. We do have a non-event related marketing budget that it is increased this year that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Okay.
And still, right, we want to be growing these events, so to do that, we need to be advertising a lot more.
Okay, it's the top of the hour, so I just want to make sure that we're moving along.
Right.
Absolutely. And we can get together and make changes on this afternoon, Andrew, if we need to. I'm happy to make whatever updates need to be made. Anything else on event related expenses? We can go through the rest relatively quickly, I believe. Again, we've used actual expenses from 2023 and added 5%, except in marketing. This is an increase per Andrew. So $25,000 for fiscal 24 in marketing, communications, and advertising. We have also from a salary standpoint, we have increased gross wages by $125,000 for a new position. There's no increase budgeted for existing staff for the year. We have adjusted the benefits and payroll processing fees and associated taxes in conjunction with the raised salary for the year.
Yeah. So I just want to highlight the Your membership. This one's speculative. My intention is not to pay the bill. We have received an invoice for yet another year, even though we've cancelled on it twice now. So worst case scenario, I will work with Bill as to what we do in this situation. I've already talked to Bill about it, but fundamentally, I don't want to be paying a $30,000 bill for something we don't use, for something we've already cancelled. So, Jason?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, Andrew, I know we've been discussing a couple of things recently. Do any of those need to be factored into this? Some of the costs surrounding some of the
No,
work
no,
I'm going to
because
be
we
doing this year?
no, because we've reinvested what we were going to do in DEF CON and Black Hat into the events that you're going to be doing.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to check on that. Cool.
Yep, that's plus. That's the plus 5% that we've been talking about. Avi?
Slack. We're
You
expecting
have
to
your
get a
hand up.
$3,000 bill at least next year.
Sorry, is that?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Can't really hear
Avi,
you.
you're really quiet. Can you turn up your mic a bit?
Yep. Do you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, much better.
I was saying about Slack. We're expecting at least a $40,000 bill from them next year. If
Yeah,
not,
that came in really late to this. That's why I've raised it with the board as a separate cost item in the internal global board list. We've got headroom to deal with the Slack bill. The reality is that I will do it by quarterly to smooth out our cash flow.
So that's an additional expense that we don't have budgeted at this point.
Yeah, probably starting in March.
And I mean, are we going to be adding it to the budget? I would assume so.
Well, if it's not too late, then maybe. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I mean, this is up to you. You guys are, I mean, I'm here to help you with your budget. I don't know what you're gonna spend though. I have to go for you guys. So you guys tell me what you want me to add and I will definitely do that. So we wanna add $40,000 for Slack?
Yep.
And is that gonna be under, software, internet dues and subscriptions, I assume?
Yes. So it looks like we won't be voting on this today, but can we vote on this, the finalized package at JFK?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go, but yeah.
So, and we want that amortized March through December. The Slack bill, or are we paying it all at once?
We're paying it in 4 quarterly installments, so there should be at least 3 quarterly payments this year, and probably 1 early next year.
Okay. And then I think we don't have any other changes so far other than the tax.
No, corporate membership needs to
wording
go.
changes.
Yeah, that needs to go into donations.
Got it.
I moved it. It's just not on the spreadsheet.
Okay.
So that's updated.
Very good. Okay. Any other questions related to expenses? We don't have, there is not anything new or additional from last year other than what I've outlined.
Yeah.
I think last year was your first year with Anders, so I assume that you probably have at least a 2-year contract with them, so there shouldn't be a tremendous increase there from an audit standpoint.
Legal expenses might be a bit high, but we're also trying to dissolve as a OWASP VZW, so I don't know what that is, so I didn't want to change it.
Ali, did you have a question?
Yeah, this comes back to, is this just a defensive number here? And specifically around project expenses. Previously, we said we're going to be spending more on them. We do have more hypothetically allocated to the budgets, to the projects. Is this number just because this is what we have spent, or do we have room to be spending more on projects as needed?
As long as we are hitting our numbers, we've got 297 that we can invest. Some of that will go to marketing. Some of it could go to projects, but projects historically always underspend.
Yep. I'd like to change that. One of the topics for the summit.
Yeah.
In next month.
I'm sorry, did you say you want to change the fact that we underspend our projects, or you want to change the amount budgeted for projects?
I guess both. No, I think it makes more sense to just leave the number if everybody agrees. Leave
Mhm.
this as what's budgeted for it and
Mhm.
change the underspending. And
Okay.
I'd rather overspend on that in this case.
Very good. Again, we don't have anything estimated for interest income at this point. I assume that I do expect that we will have some next year. How much that is, I don't know. It's really gonna depend on where we net out on a cash on hand basis.
Yeah.
We had very minimal exchange rate loss. I mean, it was like less than $100 last year, once it was all netted out. So yeah, total expenses anticipated is 3.1 million with a net operating income of $290,000. That is where we are on the budget for 2024. Happy to make any updates or changes that you guys have. And we can provide this back to Andrew later today. Sounds like there's just a couple of changes so far. But I don't know whether you guys want some time to digest this or you're gonna come back with additional commentary. Next steps are up to you.
Now let's turn around those changes. It sounds like unless there's any more feedback from the board wants to do an e-vote once we've received the final package. So that's good.
Yep.
Okay, I will make those couple of changes and then send this back out to you, Andrew.
Awesome.
Do
Thank
you
you
guys
so
have
much.
any other questions for me? Anything else I can help you with today?
So much.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks,
No worries.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, Avi, back to you.
Yep, just give me a moment. Buttons have moved again. That way. Yes, yes. Yes. All right. Did we finish with the board report here?
I'll leave it because of time. I'll leave it to the board to review these slides by themselves. Lauren, is there anything urgent that they need to know about events?
No, nothing at all.
Okay, can you please review these slides after the meeting if you haven't already? That'd be great. It's just we're down to 50 minutes left, and I know Kevin's got a hard stop.
All right. In which case we can pick up from where we were with new business. The first item, confirm Rick Mello as compliance officer. We're going to table this for now. Sorry, Sam, that means the opposite of that in the UK. Next up is, okay, the motion to approve the budget we did. All right. Next up is the Belgian Foundation discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just let you know where we're up to. At the moment, we have instructed our bookkeepers to start the process of winding up. That includes paying our taxes. After discussion with Bill, we're not going to do an external audit. There's basically no transactions to speak of. We have very limited access to our ING account. So the reality is that I've instructed Martin to move the funds to the United States and given him all the information he needs to do that. We are still waiting upon our bookkeepers to provide a solicitor name. Worst comes to the worst, I actually have relatives in Belgium who runs a non-profit foundation himself, and I can find out who his solicitor is and we can get that happening. I'm not going to leave that much later than this week. We really need to move on it. We've lost contact with Martin Mishdug, who's one of the board members. If anyone has contact with Martin, please let me know. As you know, Martin Knobloch has resigned from the EU board. That took effect. There's a 21-day cooling off period that he's still officially a director and he can act as a director for the next 21 days. But we have received his recommendation in writing. So effectively, we're down to Adrian Winkles. And historically, the UK could actually provide board members, but after Brexit, it's unclear. so we are doing the right thing by winding up the actual entity. We've got to do some taxes. There's no doubt about that. So the fact is, very, very small amount of tax to be paid because we have no transactions. Our bookkeeping, solicitor fees, and bank fees will far outweigh any tax we pay.
Is there a target date to be done with that?
I was hoping it was already going to be done. I was obviously hoping that the ING account would already be transferred, but it seems like everything moves a little bit slower than I'm used to. But I will hassle Eddie today to get the funny story. My cousin's name is also Eddie, Eddie Vanderstock. If I don't get anything from Eddie by Friday as to a solicitor that they normally work with, I will ask Eddie, my cousin, to give us a solicitor to work with.
Any other questions about the Belgian Foundation, anybody? Brings us to the Netherlands Foundation.
I'm still waiting for information from Taxback International as to whether or not we would be tax advantaged by holding events inside the Netherlands. I think the answer is going to be yes, but I have been surprised before, particularly with Portugal, that essentially the tax advantages may or not be as much as we think. But I would like to know the tax rate in the Netherlands, I believe, is 19%. So I'd rather get that down to 0. Still waiting upon Taxback. I think they may be waiting upon me to tell them something about Berlin and Hungary. Hungary has a 27% VAT rate. So if we're not tax advantaged there, I think we can scrub Hungary as being a destination for next year's event. We need to move on this because we really do need to start booking venues and getting contracts in place so that, you know, we can get a reasonable estimate for our budgeting process.
I started asking you previously, Andrew, if the main purpose of this would be for doing the global AppSex.
It would be. It would be. To be able to provide VAT invoices is quite important for government organizations if they're actually getting tickets through us in bulk. We have done tax invoices for people before from the Belgian entity, even though the money flows through the US one. The reality is that grants, if any, are very speculative at this point. I would not be basically investing in the Netherlands entity on the basis of just trying to get grants.
Any other questions, comments about Netherlands? All right.
I believe we have a longer session on that in JFK.
Yep.
Yep.
Which brings us to the third European country, Portugal. Portugal conference and VAT, which we started mentioning in the budget discussion.
Yeah. So Lauren, how's Lisbon going?
Lisbon's been going great so far. I do think it's important to note here that as we have in the beginning, prior to the Taxback International being involved, when we sent our AV vendor and the convention center our information, our VAT information, they said that we do not pay taxes. So I don't know why there's a discrepancy between what the venue and the AV vendors are saying and what Taxback International is saying.
Portugal gave us a final tax ruling, so we are paying tax. We'll have to send an additional amount of money to them.
Okay. All right, but other than that, everything is going great. We've met our expectations financially for the early bird ticket sales, and now we have moved into our regular ticket sales. Those are going great. We're working with marketing to really push that out as well. And then the training tickets should be up and promoted by the end of this week.
Okay. Kelly, corporate sponsorship, how's it going? I believe you nearly sold completely out.
So event sponsorship for Lisbon, yes, there's 4 contracts that I'm waiting for to come back. Once they do, then our main expo hall will be sold out. With those 4 contracts, we're at 296,000, which is a little bit over 30,000 more than we budgeted for.
Mhm.
Right now, as to date, we've sold 225,000. So if
Okay.
anybody knows any startup companies, we do have space left in the startup area. Any companies established 36 months or less qualify. But yeah, the main expo hall, like I said, if those 4 contracts come back, then the main expo hall is completely sold out.
I may have a few of those, Kelly. If you could put together like a short, post-size snippet of targeted for startups, I would much to share that with.
Thank you. Sure.
Sam?
Yes, similarly, Kelly, there are quite a few companies in London who expressed their desire to exhibit in Lisbon. I'm sure some of them are already on your list. However, since you're saying that the main exhibition hall is sold out, I'm just wondering, are we going to offer more non-booth sponsorship opportunities? So things like putting logo on a lanyard, on a
That-
t-shirt, on a bag, and sponsoring lunches and other opportunities.
All of those opportunities are on the existing sponsorship document now.
How many
Okay,
of those are
thanks.
still available, by the way?
They're all available. Everybody seems to want expo area.
Okay, I will inform my contacts that they can get the non-expo floor opportunities. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Sam. That's really good.
I do have waiting lists for companies who want tables in the main hall, but like I said, there's contracts out. If they don't come back, then I just go to the next company on the list, but yes.
Kelly, is there like an additional room that we could put more booths in? Maybe not the main hall, the annex?
We're using the hall next to it where tracks, I think it's 3 and 4 are gonna be for the startup area, so we're utilizing that space. I don't really, we can look at the floor plan and see if there's any other space available, but we tried to configure it with the venue and with the third-party logistics company the best we can to fit the most expo tables, but also allow for some round tables for attendees when they have their food to actually sit and eat. So, and that's gonna be a little scattered too, just so we can fit as many exhibitor tables as possible.
Good problems to have.
Yeah, I guess. Be good if we did have more space.
Next time.
Okay, so there was a discussion item for the creative solutions, the profitability problem. The reality is that we are expecting about a $1 million profit this year, but it could be more. But the reality is that for example, Singapore and the Project Summit aren't going to make money. Singapore might come close. The Project Summit is going to be an investment. So then I know you mentioned things like lanyards and bags and things like that. There's definitely some scope for marketing those things a little bit better. But, I know Lauren and Kelly have been working on this night and day for months, and if there's no interest, there's no interest.
I just want to also note that to try to make the packages, the sponsorship packages, a little bit more enticing to companies. The last year we did it too. We offered like a lead scanner, and 2 passes, so at least they can be there and standing at the lunch tables. And if anybody allows them to scan, they can collect leads that way without having an expo table over the course of the 2 days. So trying to, improve the benefits of those sponsorship items where people don't actually have a booth.
Do they be just walking around the hall with a scanner? Do they have like a
If, I
Or
mean,
allow
if they
for a
want to stand, you know, we are allowing them to put flyers on table. If it's a lunch sponsor, they could put flyers on table. They could provide pull-up banners, you know, before and after the buffet stand, stuff like that. And, you know, if they
Yep.
want to stand there and hand out swag and scan people, if the people, you know, the attendees allow them, then that's fine. But it's just another
But
opportunity.
they have,
Go ahead, I'm
but they
sorry.
have like a spot to stand, like to
Oh,
be,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not
They'll have
just
a spot, but
by-
it's only during the lunch, say the lunchtime. Yeah, for the lunch sponsor.
Okay. So what I'd like to do in the interest of time, because I know that Kevin is going to drop in 5 minutes and corporate packages might be something that he's very interested in. Can we put the conference, this particular thing to JFK as a further discussion? I think there's lots of discussion to be had here, particularly about growth. And I just want to get onto corporate packages.
I think it's a good idea.
Great.
Avi.
So next up is corporate packages.
Realistically, this has always been an operational matter. The pricing for the corporate packages has always been set by the board as per the bylaws. The benefits and whatnot, Kelly and I have been trying to work on ways to get more gold and more platinum sponsors by making the most attractive elements of the packages available for the higher package levels. We want good, better, and best. We would like the majority of our sponsors to be on the better. Obviously, the vast majority of them being on best would be awesome, but we want to do some anchoring and really sort of suggest that the starting point is the better option. At the moment, most of our corporate sponsors are in the silver package, which is the good. But Sam, you had some feedback, and do you want to go through that?
That's right, yes. So I had some feedback from companies who wish to provide member benefits, and obviously they became silver silver supporters. However, they were told that they can no longer provide the membership benefit, and they have to upgrade to gold, which means to triple their donation to the OWASP Foundation. And yeah, I went through all the board meeting minutes starting from 2020 all the way to now, trying to find information whether there was any vote on that, which I couldn't find. Andrea found a whole bunch of information from you saying how good and how valuable the member benefits are and those partners are providing member benefits. And there was a vote on requirement that a companies who provide member benefits must be at least a corporate member, which is fair enough, and some requirements on Google SSO. But there was also, of course, information on how much we managed to increase our paid membership because of the companies providing benefits, particularly companies such as AppSec Engineer, We Hack Purple, Secure Flag, and a few others. However, what actually happened, so I've had feedback from this company saying that they have to drop and they will no longer, obviously, they saying it's not feasible to them to provide member benefits for free because obviously they all have their expenses. And if they are asked on top of their current donation, on top of all the money they're investing to support OWASP members for free providing benefits, they will not be upgrading, which to me tells that obviously whatever this operational decision, I just couldn't find us voting on this. And I propose we either discuss it at the next meeting and vote on the membership levels. But my proposal is to make sure that any company who is a corporate supporter of OWASP should be free to provide free membership benefit to our members, because this was seen as the biggest boost to our membership numbers. And this is how our members can see the biggest value in actually becoming an OWASP member.
If I may, because I do have a hard stop, I apologize. And this is a topic that is dear to my heart, and one of the main reasons I ran, to be a board member. It seems absolutely backwards to me if the goal of OWASP, and it has been stated multiple times that one of our goals is to increase membership of all types, corporate, individuals, whatever, for us to place a limitation, one, on corporate members to require them to upgrade their status to be able to offer a benefit to members. That's backwards. Two, make it even worse. We have stated, we've been told, it's been discussed multiple times that we do not have a driving benefit to be an OWASP individual member other than the benefits offered by corporate sponsors, because we are completely open. Every piece of data we produce is available for free to non-members, as it should be. And what we're doing in what I believe is a misguided attempt to increase corporate sponsorship revenue, not corporate sponsorship, is we're placing a gate in front of corporate sponsors. Now, full disclosure, I am a corporate member. I would like to offer a member benefit to the OWASP members. I cannot afford to go to the gold membership. There is no benefit to my company, but that's my full disclosure, just to weed out any potential view of conflict of interest. But our entire mission is membership. And this feels like, not even getting into how it was changed, how it was seen to be changed by people. This just seems backwards to our goal and undermining what we're attempting to do. And I don't mean that meanly toward anybody. I just mean it as, I feel like this was a misguided attempt to increase revenue, not numbers.
Okay.
And having now blasted that out, I will drop and say, I'm very sorry, but I have a hard stop.
Thank you, Kevin.
Sorry, Kevin, you're dropping right now.
Yeah, I have a ton to say about this, and I apologize, but I do have to get going.
Okay.
So Kevin, we'll update you later about what other benefits we're removing from members. Yeah, we'll vote on it.
Well, that's good. We're removing other members, other benefits. That's awesome, Avi. You know what I was thinking is we could just increase the price of membership and remove all benefits from doing it and just say, out of the goodness of your heart, give us money.
I'm kidding, Kevin. Take care.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Jason?
Yeah, I can understand some of it, but if I can say as the person who was literally brought on with the broad overarching goal basically increase funding, increase revenue through various means. It's kind of like the overarching theme of my being brought on. This is one of the things I've been looking at a lot. And the reality is, on the other hand, we have a couple of problems in terms of how we've communicated things organizationally. One is that we have entrained an entire community to believe that they're coming here for what they can get out of OWASP. And that is the wrong position. And it's a bit of an abhorrence in comparison to many other organizations in our similar position. So the fact that we have a community that thinks of what's in it for me first is actually kind of a little bit backwards in the open source community. Not to say there shouldn't be benefits to them, but that's a little bit backwards. Secondarily is the reality is it still costs money to run this organization. So while it may sound terrible to put benefits behind higher tiers, the reality is corporations have absolutely no reason to give us additional money unless we can offer something of value to them. And the number one way I would suggest rethinking what we think about with member benefit. I'm a member of what's called the International Book Publishers Association, which is also a nonprofit organization. Their corporate supporters can provide member benefits. These are typically in the form of coupon codes or other discounts, whatever. They are getting, and we need to not forget this, those companies are getting increased revenue from people capitalizing on the member benefits they're providing to the IBPA. Maybe it's what we consider to be a member benefit or how we've been presenting it, but the reality is that a lot of corporate supporters have been wanting for a long time to be able to get their message in front of OWASP members and to be able to get traffic, but we are trying to protect their privacy, et cetera, which is good. We need to do that. And corporate supporter, a member benefits actually becomes a really good, and IBPA is a prime example of this. You can look, they have a long list of all their member benefits. it's a prime opportunity to actually provide an opportunity for them to get additional customers, additional traffic, et cetera, through strategic discounts, et cetera, that they're providing only to our members. So given the fact that it actually does have value, it's not just, Secure Flag's a little odd, okay, that's great. That's a wonderful thing.
Jason,
But in a broader
all
sense,
all the
what
partners that I'm talking about, they're all educational. They all provide values, which is their training platform. And don't forget, the mission of OWASP is education. So there are lots of educational platforms who are offering their platforms as an in-kind donation for free just to our members. And remember, it costs them money. It costs them a huge amount of money to keep up all the infrastructure running and offer it to anyone who comes to them as an OWASP member.
Well,
right?
maybe
This
we
is a
need to think about splitting
situation.
these into two different types
The
of member
discount
benefit
codes
then.
is different. Discounts is to companies like Black Hat, RSA. We're already doing this, right? This is a different. I'm talking about the educational platforms.
Okay, so
And
we just need to
if we
clarify
lose
what
them,
we mean by. Then we need to clarify what we mean by member benefit then, because there's two different types then, and we're kind of discussing one what are really two things.
So Jason, what I might get you to do is put a presentation together for the JFK thing, and I think we've got an agenda item on this specific thing, this particular topic. I might bring you in just to give a presentation to the board during JFK. Just in interest of time, that's all. I hear you.
So, Andrew, I just want to jump in real quick. So when we mentioned that there's the member benefits that corporate supporters provide, one, there's obviously staff time that goes behind keeping up with all of that information. Two, we also I don't want to say discredit our own OWASP's training that we sell at our global events, at our virtual trainings. I don't know how similar they are to some of these individual member benefits where they're getting training through other platforms, other organizations. But we also, have to keep in mind that, and this is operational, I feel like, the board per the bylaws sets the costs. Benefits, I feel, falls under operational. And like you said, we do need to increase the benefits per package to want these companies to join at the higher level. I don't know, for $5,000, and we honestly, I don't think we can honestly say that our membership did grow, but how can we track that back to?
It's in board minutes, Kelly. We've grown from 4,000 members to 5,000 members within the first month of starting offering educational benefits of some of the platforms.
I mean,
it's the most significant jump, and obviously, if you look, we are losing members, and we're losing members because these benefits have started disappearing. And the levels, I agree, because obviously the actual financial value assigned to tiers, it's operational, but I think the benefits that we offer to the members is something that we should be discussed. And historically, we voted as well, because when the benefit top tier was increased to 25,000, it's in the board meetings, in the minutes in 2001 in July, we actually lost lots of corporate sponsors as soon as we increased it. So same thing here. People are going away and they're saying, what are you doing? So I'm here to help your community grow by donating my platform to you for free and by sacrificing because we love OWASP, but instead you're going to say, oh, we're going to charge you for it, and actually we're going to triple the amount we've been charging before, which I don't think it's fair.
No, and I agree, but also I don't know if it's a fair statement to say that we lost individual members because of the member benefits not being provided. There's a lot of membership that comes through event registrations, and when that membership expires, they just don't renew. There is quite a few number of registrations that come through our conferences.
And you can see in past history, Kelly, I'm sure you know this, excuse me, whenever there's a conference, so say whenever DC, what month it was, October, the end of October, you'll see a lot of, in September, October, the membership goes up because your events, and you see the following year, say, and your event, say, is until November global, it will drop and then it'll bounce back up. That's the fact.
That is a fact. That has been that way since Allison was here. I mean, when I first started, you always seen a drop.
But wasn't it also said, Kelly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, one of the main things that came at the topic too is because you have startup companies who are paying so low amount to be a member, and then the amount of money you're spending on staff to do these member benefits doesn't even equal out.
Yeah, I mean, you can join for $600, $2,000.
Yeah, 600, and then you get a member benefit, and the staff to run that doesn't cover anything.
Avi?
Yeah, agreed. And just anecdotally, Kelly, I do know personally of at least a couple of hundred people who signed up for membership to get access to Secure Flag. Just last week, somebody said they want to sign up, and they were very disappointed after they paid for OWASP membership to find out that some of the modules at Secure Flag were not included in the free package, but they were happy with the membership anyway. So
And they
anecdotally,
also-
I do know that it is a thing.
Yes, I'm not saying no, yeah. Maybe I misspoke, or maybe you misunderstood me, but yes, I'm not saying that people didn't join for the member benefits, but that's not the reason for the increase overall. And also,
I
the
agree.
individual members have to remember that when the Secure Flag agreement ends, that benefit is no longer available to the individual members. It's only for the life of their agreement with us.
Don't tell them.
Well, we're being transparent here.
I'm kidding. Yes.
Well,
So
But
I
didn't that one, sorry, Kelly, didn't that Secure Flag, didn't we pay for that? It wasn't a free, didn't we have to pay for that one?
Not for a while, Dawn.
Okay, I thought we did.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So-
think individual increases is just details, right? My point here that I'm trying to make across is that if we're trying to make more money from our corporate supporters, we should be looking at other things that we can provide to sponsors who are paying more money. For example, provide them with more free tickets to OWASP Global AppSec events, because that is a benefit to them. But you know, things like provision of benefits to OWASP members, which means that these companies are actually providing the expense of providing in-kind donation of providing their platforms to our members. They should not be gated. The only gate should be corporate membership.
And I have to briefly say, I've been working with Andrew and Kelly to come up with additional corporate supporter benefit possibilities, which won't come up today, but we have been working on that. So there are a number of other things along those lines too.
That's great to hear. And this is definitely a big topic that's going to be discussed at length at the New York Summit. More to the point, the issue of the change here, I don't think the fact that it was changed without a board vote is a problem, because as Kelly said, the details of these packages are operational, and that's legit. On the other hand, as Kevin said, specifically member benefits should be made more accessible. It is, I agree with Kevin, it is backwards for the simple reason that the biggest benefit we could give to our corporate supporters is a larger community of OWASP members, which we need to do relevant of that. So it's not a zero-sum game of let's keep this for the higher membership, but rather let's think about which of these details of these packages actually grow our membership as well. So this, even though it is operational and legitimate for the staff to make this decision, in my mind, this is a strategic topic, that one specific benefit there, that I think we're going to need to discuss more at length, because we do need more of those benefits. And I completely agree with Jason. Ideally, people should be joining and becoming members not because of specific benefits. The sad case is WIFM is always going to be what's in it for me is always going to be the driving factor. And we do need to be cognizant of that fact. If we want to substantially grow our membership, we need to have a better WIFM story there. And I think we need to be working on that as well.
But could I possibly make one minor suggestion to how we're framing this narrative that might reduce some confusion, and say, providing a member benefit, assuming that member benefit is provided to OWASP and to its members pro bono, is declassified as a benefit of corporate sponsorship and reclassified as a means of corporate sponsorship. That is to say, if they're providing that, they're providing something of value, versus opportunity to provide a coupon code or some other way of providing their message is a benefit that we are providing to them. Because the reality is, the way this has been framed already a couple of times, is that in the case of the corporate sponsorship, the member benefit, it is something that they are providing. It is an in-kind donation. So maybe it needs to be reframed as instead of a benefit, but as a form of a donation and approached in that manner, so it eliminates all the confusion and prevents a future confusion wherein someone goes, well, I want to provide 50% off for your, it doesn't that count as a member benefit? No, it needs to be 100% pro bono if it's going to count as an in-kind. Otherwise, you're using our platform as a promotional tool, and that is a benefit that should go to higher paying corporate supporters.
At a
What I
minimum,
might do is bring the staff
So
around this topic for a presentation to the board during the actual JFK. But I did say to Sam in chat, Sam, did you want to direct me? I mean, at the end of the day, you've heard the staff. We don't agree, but it is the board's prerogative to bring motions to direct me. So did you want to bring a motion?
Well, in terms of the motion is, I think it's just a discussion for now, but my motion would be probably for the JFK or for the next meeting.
Okay.
so
Because there is the precedence. I have found a meeting minutes of previous board where the board voted on corporate membership levels, which is something that I need to clarify whether we have the power as the board to vote on this manner. Yeah. So if it is a board, I will bring the motion to vote to discuss that any corporate sponsor providing pro bono benefits, right? It will be counted as in-kind donation, and the only requirements for this is to be a member, and any requirement for them to be gold, platinum, diamond sponsor is to be removed.
is your motion for our next meeting, which would be at JFK, or the next board meeting, which actually would be probably after JFK?
If we're gonna have voting,
it should
I'll
be
go for
JFK.
JFK, and then the reason why I don't want to bring it right now because Kevin has dropped, so we don't have all the board members online right now.
Okay.
So to that point, Andrew, can we ask that for the JFK summit, as Steven says, to have details of that breakdown of who's providing what, who wants to be providing what levels they're at, and so on.
Yeah, I'll get that done. We don't have any decent marketing tools to determine where the members came from or the reasons why they joined. So there's an unknowable, but there is a definite correlation between membership growth and membership benefits being offered at the same time. But also we did a fair amount of promotion during the 20th anniversary to become lifetime members, that sort of thing. So don't discount the fact that we've also been pushing it as a separate narrative. If you are going to vote at JFK, we need to publish an agenda at least 7 days before. And if this is going to be a vote, this needs to be published.
Right. Well, I'm working on the agenda, Sam. If you want to have a vote there, get that to me, please. Andrew, can we ask any of the corporates that are providing benefits for details on their side? For example, if you log into Secure Flag with an OWASP account, they know that, right?
Yeah, they do.
Don?
Just, I'm not sure I understood, Sam, so I want to make sure I understood this. He's going to look up, since this is an operational matter, and now the board is taking over to vote on an operational matter. He said he's got to look up if you can. Am I pulling out Robert's Rule of Orders? Because I'm a little confused here. If this is an operational, how's it going to a vote? So am I supposed to be pulling out where in the Robert's Rules you're allowed to do this, or am I just supposed to shut up and mind my business?
It wouldn't be in the Robert's Rules anyway, it would be in our policies.
So the reality is, Dawn, I work at the pleasure of the board. The board can direct me to do things. The reality is they should use that power very rarely. But at the end of the day, basically, if they fundamentally disagree with something we're doing operationally, they've got the ability to change policy, and they've also got the ability to direct me.
Okay, so then what did Sam say he had to look up that we had to get? Then
Well,
maybe I
there might be a
misunderstood
discussion
Sam.
around, there might be a discussion around changing the membership benefits policy so the board has a say. But at the moment, it's operational.
So I don't have to get you anything for the meeting in New York then?
No.
Okay, I misunderstood Sam. I thought he needed to look something to find something prior that I would have to get for the board.
I think
Okay.
we're going to do some research doing. So that's what I took from it.
Okay, so if someone needs something for me to find, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
We
All
do
right.
want to collect
Thank
data. I don't know if this is on your side, Don, but we do want to collect as much data as possible around the breakdown, not just about the individual members, but more about the corporate members.
Okay.
And to be
I'll reach
clear,
out to Andrea
it is
and
not-
the other corporate supporter who's offering a package at the moment. We obviously have some prior corporate supporters, folks who offered things before we tightened it up. At the end of the day, when we had it ungated, and you didn't have to be anything to offer a corporate support, a membership benefit, we were being overwhelmed with offers. That's probably a good thing to have, but at the same time, there's staff costs associated with this. So please do think about when you're having this discussion, whether or not startups and regionals are included in this, and if so, to what level, because otherwise it becomes an investment in our membership program rather than a benefit that could be used as a fundraiser.
And
We
would
need to also
really
remember,
like to have that data as well about the breakdown of, how many of those corporate members are regional, how many of them want to offer benefits, and as much as we can slice and dice that data would be good.
We'll try. Kelly, the board has asked whether or not you could attend in person for that particular session.
I will, I need dates, but I will see if I could try.
Okay.
If not,
Well,
I could
what-
definitely attend virtually.
I also would
It will
need dates.
probably be something like Tuesday the 19th or something like that.
I will look
Of
at
what month?
March.
Next month, yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you all right now, I will be virtual.
No,
Just to let
staff.
everyone know also, I have a hard stop at the top of the hour there. So just to let you know, I got to drop then.
Great.
Yeah.
Kelly, can I just ask one more thing? Because you raised the topic of costs to the foundation of maintaining the member benefit. Apart from adding a link to the member benefit portal, if there are any other costs, can you please detail them so we could look at them and also see how we can optimize them by perhaps automating them as well?
Yeah, I put together some information for you, sure.
Yeah.
I feel like we also have to remember, like, these corporate members that provide an individual member benefit. So like I had said earlier, it's for the length of their subscription with us, let's put it that way. They go and choose not to renew, say, yet they have all these contacts from OWASP and they're not giving back at all. I don't know, we're not we are a charity, but we also need funds to further our mission. And
The
I just
marketing
feel
tool,
for.
yeah.
Okay,
do
but they're
that.
giving because they are paying for corporate sponsorship and also they're providing their platform for free and they're paying for all the costs associating with maintaining 5,000 extra users load on their platform out of their own pocket.
Yeah, but they
As an
profit
in-kind
from that.
benefit.
And they
Yeah,
can
but they
continue-
profit from that.
Exactly.
This is marketing. This is
Okay.
marketing for them.
Okay, we've got some folks with hard stops, so we do need to discuss Slack. Obviously, this is a contested matter. Staff, please work with Kelly on getting a presentation together. I'm certain that a board gets the feeling that we feel strongly about this, but at the end of the day, basically the board does have a place in the overall governance. We just need to present our facts fairly and see if what sort of decision the board makes.
In that presentation, please, if you have any other changes to make to the packages, I think they're due for a revamp as well. So let's go for that. We're going to be discussing it in the summit. Just to sum up, Kelly, this is, as you said, it is an operational matter, but some of these parts can't be strategic. So that's exactly what we'll be discussing.
And I just want to put it out there that this one company that we're talking about, they signed a quote, and on the quote was a list of all of the benefits. This member benefit was not included on the quote. It's not on our website. It's for the higher packages. The quote was signed at the silver level with the benefits listed on the quote that was signed.
Sam, for now, you're okay leaving it as it is until the New York Summit meeting, yes?
Yes, because it's exactly you summarized my point, because I believe this should be a strategic, so
We'll discuss it.
that's where we need to split it, yep.
Okay, so it needs, it's, there's a lot of nuance and balance there, so we will discuss that. As Andrew said, in the interest of time, we'll move on to the Slack discussion, please.
Okay, so I met with Slack with Harold. They were very uninterested in hearing about our wonderful idea to provide them in kind. They are already a Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, Salesforce is already a platinum supporter.
A paying platinum, yes.
Yeah. So obviously Slack is a different business unit. We were prepared to offer them that benefit, but they're just interested in the funds. The best they could do is, we have a current monthly usage of around 3,300. They were looking for us to provide them an estimate for a flex license. They were willing to go down to 3,000. So at 3,000 across the board for the next 12 months, even if we have growth, we won't be hit until the renewal. And then they'll reevaluate what our license should have been, but they won't go back for more than the 3,000. What they will for the 25 year, it'll probably go up yet. In some ways, this is a good problem to have. We know that the participants and our members use Slack extensively. We have obviously 3,000 active users, 3,300. We would have to find an alternative service that costs a lot less. There are some around, but the migration for it would be very painful. I would not wish to change unless we had to. It might just simply be something that we put in the cost of membership as, like we do with chapters. Chapters, we put the meetup costs. This would go down into the membership costs. 40,000 divided by 7,000 divided by 40,000 is it's roughly $5.70 per member, paying member. So this might lead into the discussion that we're going to have about membership price rises. Okay, so at JFK. At the very moment, though, it looks like for 24, we will have to pay this bill. So I've already asked Bill, am I permitted to co-sign it once it comes in? I have not received this bill yet. I'm expecting it any day.
All right.
So it really comes down to, does the board really want us to, I'd rather spend the time not looking for a Slack replacement. We've got a lot of things to do this year. Does the board think that we should pursue a alternative chat platform, or is it just a cost of doing business and we'll have to live with it?
Andrew, before we do that, I would like to propose that we make more attempts trying to resolve this with Slack, because if we only talk to their business development or with their salespeople, we should really escalate and talk to the senior people, to their board, because both Slack and Salesforce use OWASP resources on our projects extensively. All their documentation mentions OWASP, and for them to start charging us for the use is something that I don't think they will agree, right? So this is more a strategic thing. Of course, salespeople will try to make the numbers and try to sell us their platform so they make money, but they don't realize the value that OWASP is bringing to Slack, and that is the reason that Slack was basically used for free by our members, again, as an in-kind donation. And removing that is not a good PR move for Salesforce and for Slack.
Yeah.
Agreed. I don't think there seems to be consensus between Steve, Bill, myself, and Sam, at least. Seems to be consensus we don't want to switch off of Slack, but that doesn't mean we just need to take that bite just because they say so.
Mhm.
I think we need to pay what we need to pay right now, but keep working on trying to find the right contact. Whether it's at Slack directly or at Salesforce, probably somebody either in marketing, product management, or security organization, and not salespeople. But we do it while we can, what we need to.
Okay, I'll see who I can rustle up at a higher level. But if anyone on the board has contacts at Slack, because it is a business unit, it's not necessarily going up to the Salesforce HQ. So Slack higher ups.
I would recommend everybody here try and reach out to whoever we can. I'm sure there's a security team there that somebody knows that somebody knows.
Yeah.
All right. Being cognizant of the time, I will ask if there's any additional business that cannot wait. Sam, your topic on the White House release, whatever announcement, whatever that is, can we take that on email?
Yes, and actually good news is we've actually already responded to the draft of it back in
Mhm.
November. So we can just reiterate the same message. There is
Yeah.
already a response from Andrew.
Yeah.
And from OWASP as an organization.
Sam, could you please work with Andrew to re-up that?
Yep, we just need to basically republish that blog post and make it basically PR move to say, now that the report is final, here is our response, and we had it back in November, which is great news.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. And then we should do some PR on that as well.
So I'm obviously traveling at the moment and at a fundraising workshop. It's been very, very positive. There's 4 outcomes that they've been working on. I'll present at JFK in our fundraising session what I've learned. We are not unique. We're not a special snowflake. So they're trying to put together a proposal for joint funding. I don't know if that's going to work for us, but I will wait and see the firm proposal that comes from this. Hopefully that will actually firm up by the time that we have our board meeting in March.
Thank you for that, Andrew. With all that said, I would like to move for adjournment, seeing that we're already at the hour. Do I have a second for adjournment?
Second.
Ooh.
So, thank
That
you,
was
Bill, for
fast.
seconding.
Wow.
I never get the second because you guys are so fast. I thought I'm gonna hop on it this time. I want to be second.
Way to go, Bill. Way to
It is
go. That's
well,
awesome.
second to adjourn.
Usually
Okay.
Kevin does that, right?
Second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Right.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
All right.
We'll
Thanks
see you
all.
in a few weeks.
All right.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye.
Cheers.
Recording.